Have you ever been asked, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And your mind just goes completely blank? While everyone else seems to have a 5-year plan, a dream career, and a perfect morning routine, you're sitting there feeling like you don't even have a 5-week plan. You might think you're lazy, unmotivated, or just broken. But psychology says you're not. There are actually 4 fascinating psychological reasons why you feel like you don't have a goal. And once you understand them, it will completely reframe how you see yourself. Let's break it down. Reason 1, the scanner's dilemma. The first reason you might not have a goal is actually a plot twist. It's not that you have no interest, it's that you have too many. When you look at your life, you might see a dozen different paths. Maybe you like design, coding, psychology, and music, but because you have so many options, you become completely paralyzed by choice. Psychologists call this the scanner's dilemma. For the last century, society has praised the I-shaped person, the specialist who picks one narrow field and goes a mile deep into it. But your brain might be built differently. You might be an M-shaped person or a polymath, whose greatest strength is collecting diverse skills and finding how they connect. You don't have a single goal because being forced to pick just one thing for the rest of your life feels like a trap. Reason 2, childhood conditioning and emotional disconnect. What if you genuinely look inside and just feel nothing? No passions, no clear desires. This often stems from how you grew up. If you were a child who had to grow up too fast, maybe you were the family peacemaker, or you constantly had to manage your parents' emotions, you learned early on that your own needs came second. You spent your childhood in survival mode, anticipating what other people needed. Alternatively, if you experienced childhood emotional neglect, where your feelings were rarely validated or mirrored back to you, your brain never got the chance to learn its own internal language. Psychologists call this alexithymia, difficulty in identifying and describing your own emotional states. If you were never allowed to pay attention to your own inner world, it makes perfect sense that as an adult, you don't know what you want. You can't set a goal if you can't identify what actually brings you joy. Reason 3, your brain, the prediction machine. Sometimes not having a goal is actually a highly sophisticated form of self-sabotage. If you were to set a massive goal and actually succeed, it creates what scientists call a prediction error. Sudden success contradicts your brain's deep belief that you aren't good enough, and to your primitive brain, that gap feels incredibly unsafe. By refusing to set a goal, you protect yourself. If you don't aim for anything, you can't fail, and your brain never has to face the terrifying uncertainty of success or failure. Reason 4, dopamine withdrawal and the plateau. Maybe you do set goals, but you abandon them a week later. You start with intense passion, but the moment it gets hard, you quit. When you start learning something new, your brain is flooded with dopamine because the rate of acquiring new information is so fast. But inevitably, the learning curve flattens out, the novelty drops, and the dopamine shuts off immediately. To push through this plateau, you rely on a specific part of your brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, or AMCC. Think of the AMCC as the willpower muscle inside your head that fires when you do something you don't want to do. If you spent your life giving up the moment you feel bored or frustrated, that muscle literally shrinks. You don't lack ambition, you are just experiencing dopamine withdrawal and muscle atrophy in your brain. So how do you fix this and actually move forward? You have to lower the stakes. Stop trying to choose a goal for the rest of your life. That pressure is what is paralyzing you. Instead, practice something called serial mastery. Pick just one interest or pillar and commit to it for a single season, maybe 6 to 18 months. You aren't marrying this goal, you are just dating it for a while. And when you inevitably hit that boring plateau and want to quit, use the 15% push. Don't try to force yourself to work for 4 more hours. Just push yourself to do 15% more than you wanted to. That tiny moment of pushing through the discomfort is exactly how you build that AMCC muscle in your brain. You aren't lazy and you aren't broken. You are simply navigating a brain that is protecting you from failure, recovering from the past, or begging to explore more than just one path. Pick one small thing for this season, build that mental muscle, and see where it takes you. If this hit home for you, drop a comment below and let me know which of the 4 reasons resonated the most. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.